Hey everyone, and welcome to Geek Peek, the show where we check out the coolest, most innovative tech office spaces around. Today, I am in the Belltown neighborhood of Seattle, Washington. We're here to check out Wavii. Let's go take a peek inside. Hey Adrian, how's it going?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Good. Super excited to be here at Wavii today.
We're happy to have you.
Thank you. So tell me, what does Wavii do? But tell me so that my mom or my grandma can understand.
Sure. What Facebook is basically giving you these days is updates about your friends, right? Like Julie checked into a location or Mark got a new job. But there's nowhere where you can go right now and get these updates for what's occurring in the world, right?
Definitely.
You can't add a city as a friend. You can't add a company as a friend. You can't add a product as a friend.
Yeah.
So what Wavii's doing is basically crawling the web, figuring out what's going on, and then building these updates. So if you follow a movie in our system, we'll tell you, hey, this movie's coming to your town, the trailer's released, this actor's starring in it. If you follow a city, we may tell you when big events are occurring, when elections are coming up, maybe when there's an earthquake or whatever it is. So these are glamorous offices, and by glamorous I mean a building that's probably about 100 years old and was recently restored. So if we kind of start walking this way, you'll see that we organize our teams into these kind of these pods or these little groups. And then if we hop over here on the other side of the bookshelves, this is where we come into kind of what we think of as our living room, right? And you'll see right now we're going to be starting yoga in a few minutes. So
I have my yoga pants on, I'm prepared, I'm ready. Tell me a little bit about how did that get started? Why do you guys do yoga? And why did you feel that it was so important that you had to have it in your company?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and I wish I could give you some existential reason about how yoga is the meaning of life, but the truth is I do yoga and I wanted to do yoga at the office and kind of share it with everybody.
Okay, so one of the biggest things, people want to know is what advice do you have? I mean, you guys have been very successful in raising funds and doing everything and creating this company. What is some of the biggest advice that you can give to other entrepreneurs and other startups out there?
The first is has to do with hiring. There's almost nothing more important than your team. So that core piece of advice that I've always followed is hire people smarter than you, right? If your company is always moving towards kind of a higher and higher intellectual bar, you're probably moving in a better and better direction. Because it turns out the challenges of a company are going to get harder over time, not easier. But as you have more users, as you have more employees, as you have more funding, as you're trying to do more complicated pieces of software, more complicated deals, you always want people smarter than you. And then the second kind of piece of advice that, especially in the startup world, it's very easy to kind of fall back on this notion of, oh my God, we need to do this month, and the whole world's going to end if we don't. And the problem is that companies that optimize for the short term end up usually sticking around for the short term. So it's really important to remember that if you want to build a company to stick around for 5 years or 10 years or 20 years, you have to think long term to an extent. And that's a tough trade-off because you do want that sense of urgency, but then again, you also want to be long-term optimized. I'm a pretty big believer that the number one reason companies fail is that they just don't start. So many times I've heard someone say, I have a great idea, or I'm going to go start a company, and they just end up not doing it.
Yeah.
So you'll hear a lot of people say, I'll start a company just as soon as I get funding, or I'll start a company just as soon as I get a co-founder, or just as soon as I come up with an idea. And I take a different stance, which is start the company, figure out everything after starting the company, because that's the hardest part.
Thanks for checking out this episode of Geek Peek TV. Want to be the first to see more Geek Peek episodes? Subscribe to our YouTube channel or on our website. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter or check us out on Facebook.
But we want to try to be a top 5 website. We want to be that destination where you wake up in the morning and you say, I'm going to Facebook to find out about everything going on with my friends, and I'm going to Wavii to find out everything going on with my world.
I love it. That's great.
Hopefully. One down, 6.9 billion people to go.
No, you probably got our camera guy and our producer too, so
Great.
it's 3. And your mom, right? I'm sure your mom's super proud of you.
Yes, she is. Yes.